Grand Elevations, everyone. It's me, Nacy. Wanted to come back this afternoon and do a reading. I'm actually probably going to pop on here a couple of times today. I've attempted to do a live the last couple of times. It seems like the internet connection is either slow or I'm not able to bring on anyone live on my platform. And it could be those little gremlins those that love us so much that are policing these platforms now, because I've been shadow banned and striked several times on the content that I provide. My purpose for today is to jump on here and to read chapter 24 in the Hidden Lands Beyond Antarctica, and tie that into also one of Manly P. Hall's book, the Occult Anatomy of a Man. I'm going to do this video and hopefully it won't be too long. I want to cover also a chapter in Flat Atlantis, and also, if we have time, because I'm going to time this, the Hearth book, right? So let's just jump right into it. The only thing I want to say here is that the inner spirit or my energy is telling me to say on camera that if you're experiencing something, if you're struggling with something, you need to get help. You need to get help and find someone to talk to professionally, and not just leave it to a family member or friend. I have struggled with things throughout my life, and I'm not ashamed to say that I've gotten help. I used the BetterHelp platform for a couple of years to get through some things that I needed to work out internally. And so I'm not ashamed to come online and any platform that I may upload this to say that no one is perfect. He who is perfect cast the first stone, right? No one's perfect. No one's infallible, right? No one is above reproach when it comes to making mistakes. Let me put it that way, right? And so all I can do at this point in my life is to be better than I was the day before. And that's where I strive to constantly learn and grow and be a student of knowledge. No, I am not a master teacher. I'm not a master of anything. And the more I read, the more I understand that I know little, very little, right? Anything that's been recorded in a book can be manipulated, and trust that it has been. But the true story of our past is written within our DNA. If you know, you know. It's not a thing of believing, it's a thing of knowing. And it comes with growth. It comes with time. And I dare say that we are out of time at this point. So if you're struggling with something, no matter what it is, seek help. Don't just carry it around with you, because that can fester within inside you and eat you alive and cause it to be a cancer within you. And it will eventually lower your vibration, your chakras, and you won't be able to ascend. Because while we're here in this realm, this is what we all should be striving for, is ascension. We should try to strive for a higher vibration and a higher point of enlightenment, right? Nirvana. Heaven is within. And if you're struggling with something, you need to get help so that you can get to a point to where you can regroup, refocus, and bounce back and be better than what you were the day before. Okay. And I'm talking to myself. I've done that. I'm not perfect. I've made tons of mistakes in my 54 years. And for whatever time I may have lived, hell, I may make another mistake, but I don't plan on it. But, things happen in life. And so my point is, you learn from your mistakes and you move on, right? So anyway, without further ado, Hidden Lands Beyond the Antarctica, chapter 24, the invisible struggle, the inner struggle. Who would get up and argue today about the stars that are seen in the heavens every night, or about the moon or the sun, or about everything that is established? Perhaps very few. It is that the conditioning of a lifetime, or rather of past lives and lifetimes, influences our thinking today, because the vast majority have simply accepted things as they were handed down from the childhood. We were nurtured into a thing, right? We were nurtured. All of us were. We will be marginalized in the future if we simply comment this to someone else. We will be taken as insane people who to be under observation of some professional, that professional who accepted all this, accepted the books he had to recite, accepted the earth that he has walked and lived since he was born, accepted that he had to repeat certain words at the right time, so that with a piece of paper and several signatures, he is granted permission to speak or study or certain issues. Who then will discuss about the educational systems, or what things should or should not teach us? The world is empty for being justly full of confused and many times absurd ideas that we were simply adopting as time went by. And without even asking ourselves, we continue with the same plan, the same routine daily, when sometimes in the emptiness an inner voice resounds very loud saying, hey, something is not right here. In that instance is when we seek to turn off our mind with another kind of thoughts, maybe and most probably some problem that is going around us. The new generation is becoming and adapting every day more and more in the same robotic actions. It is far away from the previous one, and it is already a mere spectrum of its first version. Its competition with other and its life based on mere biological functions is self-destructive, besides being easily manipulated. For this and many other reasons, going into those lands where I was born become very difficult, because not only we fight against parasites, but against many people who are contaminated by the manipulation under the same parasitic reign. We live in the known lands here in the Earth Dome with a bunch of damn whack jobs, psychopaths who are running the country, who are running this world government, and who are levels above the government, who are not even of this, let me say, they're not of this being, or they're not human. Let me put it that way. It is a price paid by humanity as a whole to fight the freedom that never came until now, and it remains to be discovered. If we will be able to achieve it, it seems difficult being in these lands, so polluted, but even more being from outside those lands. So polluted, even more being from outside those lands are ours, that belong to us, as well as absolute freedom and our infinite spiritual growth. Human life took physical bodies. Repeat that. Human life took physical bodies to take care of the Great Dome, the races that inhabit it, and of course, to return the parasitic colonizers to their original form. The use of technology to dominate and crush into dictatorial control another entire race, and not only prevent them from leaving, but also manipulate their bodies, minds, and their surroundings and their future, is simple macabre and can only be carried out by utterly despicable beings. So you got to know who is behind all of it, because they are working with a subset of humans. And they've had a long time to get their shit together. They've had this plan for thousands, of not hundreds of years. And they're executing it flawlessly. And it's not something that I believe. It's something that I know. This is not a belief now. This is much deeper than a belief. This is knowing that there is a problem in this world, right? And I am with constant optimism that we will prevail, as we did thousands of years ago. Our ancestors may have let us fall. They may have gotten tired. They may have given up, but there's a new breed of people. And I truly believe that the strong will survive, and they will stand up, and they will speak. Sorry. I don't know where she got. She's down there chewing on something. Hey, what do you got down there? Anyway, I'm having my coffee, and My nut pod creamer, I've tried something different. I do have an almond allergy, but I'm hoping that it's not going to be that bad to where I can't drink this. Almond milk and coconut milk is what I'm trying right now. A blend, so we'll see. We will see. So, I do not like degenerate division, even when it comes to these beings. But they have made of this great dome that offers the most beautiful being sights and places anyone has ever seen a hellish place with constant fights, manipulation, control, psychological games, and only for personal gain, and search to increase their own power. But everything has an end, and this is the gateway that will take us beyond our growth and knowledge of our past, and surrounding lands have to come to light. Although, as I've said before, this places us in a place as dark as the distant seas, crossing the Great Dome. The marginality is latent for those of us who dare to even ask that question that many hate due to the comfort they have acquired. Can we live otherwise? Can we call this freedom? Being in my homeland, there is a lot of noise and mental interference that originates especially in the big cities. The turmoil, the rush, and the absolute disorganization make the whole experience something difficult to digest. If you are used to being in a quiet surrounding and you go into the city and you're around people, the hustle and bustle, all these different energies, kind of like, I'll give you an example, Superman. When Clark Kent, Man of Steel, what's his name? I can't think of the tall guy with the dark hair. The last one. Henry Cavill, I think is his name. When he was a young boy in the closet at school, he started getting all this noise in his head, and he ran into the closet, and they called his mom, and all the kids were out there picking on him in the closet. And, oh, he's weird. You know, they were talking, and he could hear their voices through the door because he was coming into his own. Same thing, same reference. You have to be able to, like his mother told him, you have to just focus on my voice and drown out everything else. And this is truly what you have to do. You have to find a stillness within yourself, right? You have to come back to center. And it's very important that you do this every single day. Ground, meditate, yoga, stretch, work your body. I am guilty of not exercising like I should. I have a whole home gym, and I have to motivate myself to get up and do it. So while I'm off these next 3 days, I'm going to be pushing myself to move and to get up and to work, because the body is made to move. It's not made to rest like we've been doing. Like I'm working 10, 13, 14 hours a day behind my desk and not getting up, just going to let the dogs out, use the restroom, and come back. That's not good. It's not good for me. And I recognize that fact. So my point is that we're coming at this time now where a lot of things are going to be revealed, and they're already coming out, right? They're distracting us with so much on TV. I don't even really watch the TV. I may watch a couple things on Netflix. I may watch a few things on Hulu every now and then. I pick and choose very small window of things that I take in now. I do listen to podcasts. There's a handful of people that I listen to, less than 5 at this point, because I'm drowning out all the noise because I don't have time for it anymore. I'm on this mission to ascend, and just as much as what you take in is your diet, of what you eat, is also what you listen to, what you surround yourself with, and how your home is set up, who you're with as a person, right? Your partner, or if you're by yourself, you have to limit and filter out all the bullshit. You really do, in order for you to progress and to change and to grow and to stay in a positive mental state for what's coming, right? Because we're at war, and we need to get ready. We need to be suited up spiritually, physically, mentally, and I'm not even going to say financially, because the fiat currency is going to fall. So let me get back to this part. It says, people here run without really knowing why, are in a hurry to live and focus on, should I say, focus one on the importance of physical appearance and the volatile achievements that carry in the mere environment. What would happen then if one lives simply without having an image of oneself? We should try to find out what would happen then with all that mental interference if our image disappears from one day to the next. I mean, what you think of yourself, of the achievements and failures, of all the problems that your own mind has created for you. Maybe the awakening is closer than we think, simply with small changes. In the world around you, right now, you will never find the answer that we are immense because our spiritual growth is so. We are the purest creation that the parasites do not want to release. We are their greatest opposition that exists in this great dome. For the dirtiest parasites of all, if only you could discover it for yourselves in the silence, when your thoughts are silent and there is stillness, when you can see in your surroundings in another way, without so much interference, without so much manipulation. You are not a coincidence or a mere point in the false universe. You are so important that you are so important that they should have imprisoned you under walls and manipulated your body, your environment, your history. For 7 long generations, the path to awakening is not to be better than another. It is not about that. It is about a path that sooner or later we all walk it. Is simply to realize how great it is to live this moment, despite being under the domination of these corrupt beings. A chain that we can break. Not to let the state of unhappiness that in general seems to lead the new humanity be something accepted without questioning it all. Among so many thoughts, Butler sat down again next to me, the great captain, who had so many stories that made of himself a living encyclopedia. He had sailed so many seas that many of his stories could have also been found in the great ancestral library. Not in vain, I brought some of these books to continue assembling this great puzzle. Butler knew very well how to enter and exit through the first dome. And this is where we are. We're in the middle of the center dome. He had done it several times until at least the discovery of the custodians about the portal we had opened and the military fortification with the installation of thousands of bases that had been operating there for some time. And above all, because of the system of earthquake generating radars in that area. Things had become complicated to sneak inside, but we were willing to do it again, once again, even with the pain I felt throughout my body, was nothing compared to the possibility of returning to the land where I was born and seeing my brothers again. That was chapter 24, and now we're on 25, and this is the Hidden Land near Antarctica, okay? We're going to go ahead and we're going to get into that read. The only thing I'm going to say with the struggle is that no matter what you're going through, you have to get to a point to understand that this is just merely a vessel that is containing you. You are bigger and greater than what you know. And they have to keep us at a level with all of the 5G, the phones, the frequencies, the food, the spraying in the skies. They've tried to limit us so greatly. They have enslaved us. And the majority of people don't even know that they're enslaved, right? I've had conversations with a few of my sons, and one in particular comes to mind where he says, not everybody's going to believe what you believe, and everybody's going to feel the same way you feel. And I think it's already too late. We're lost. I don't believe that at all. I believe that we are a great nation. We are great people. The first order of business is for you to understand that everything you've been taught is you've been lied to about everything. And until you do the research, it's just me talking and bumping my gums, right? You have to understand what this is. And, the enslavement and the traps that are placed on us, the confines that we go through, education, religion, government, everything that we've been taught has been centered around our institution. We've been institutionalized since birth, and we didn't know it. you know? And it's sad that when you get to a certain point in your age and your understanding, you're on the downside, you know? I'm halfway through to 60. I'm 54. You know, I had to learn these things. And I grew exponentially in the last 10 years. Though I went through a lot of struggles in my personal life, it led me to this point to where I am now, right? The understanding that I have, right? The knowledge that I have, the application. See, it's one thing to have knowledge. Knowledge is power if you apply it in your life, right? All the information I have on these books, hundreds of books that I have, if I don't apply it in my life, then what's the point? Am I just wasting this lifespan? Am I just blindly, usefully doing something just to exist? No. It's for my own personal growth. And I'm just sharing the knowledge. You know, it's up to you to go vet that. It's up to you to go look it up. It's up to you to use your discernment and to want to study and to want to learn more, right? If you are comfortable at staying at where you are, then obviously I'm not the person that you should be listening to or following or even watching any of my videos. It's only for someone who has that spark, that curiosity, and wants to grow and wants to learn and wants to understand. One thing to read the books, but really to understand what it's saying, you know? So that part, we've read 24. We're going to read 25. And I'm trying to be cognizant of my time. I may come back later on and do this because this is a powerful read and it actually goes with the sacred secretion. It's going to be a couple of chapters. So I may just do this tonight. So we'll have a date, right? We'll have a meeting. So let's read chapter 25 because this is getting good. We're on this path of finishing up this book, and it's going to tie into something else that I'm going to introduce. It says, chapter 25, the Hidden Land of Antarctica. So I know it's reversed on camera. It says, how would we do it in this time? Well, by air, Butler would sentence, and it would be the first time for me to penetrate the first dome with the famous iron balloon. This had to have surgical precision and was very risky, but considering the security moves that were taking place around the ice walls, it was better to be safe and to do it by air. That same afternoon, we left for the old continents. I felt as much adrenaline as excitement inside me. I could not wait to take off. Our great ship departed, ascending at incredible speed and reaching a height that I had never reached in my previous trips. You could clearly see the waters above over the second dome. Everything was calm and according to plan, at least until we approached the dividing edge. It was planned to pass through the passage. We were already well acquainted with Butler, since my boat had long before sailed across. But this time, with the ship crossing the skies and going at the great speed, Butler, knowing me, remarked several times to put my mind at ease that everything would go as planned. There were only 4 of us inside, the pilot and one person who could indicate by sound alone that was the fault of those bluish beasts that were cruising the skies. We descended several feet to reach an altitude that we consider a safe, since the radars should not detect us. Suddenly, we entered this passage, and the experience by air is totally different. It is to enter a kind of tunnel where nothing is heard but silence. The speed, although we had reduced it considerably before entering, there inside it seemed that we were being shaken frantically. Everything lasted seconds, and we appeared on the other side, flying upside down over the Antarctic Sea. The pilot quickly and with great astuteness controlled the ship and the situation brilliantly. Everything returned to normal as the ship righted its course. The ice walls were perfectly visible. We were at 2,300 feet altitude. We crossed part of the walls without problems, but something was not right with our ship. Several alarms went off inside, and we began to lose altitude rapidly. We saw land in sight on the south coast, and the linear pilot made an emergency landing. Everything was starting to go wrong in our return to the known lands, as was this unexpected end just minutes after returning to my beloved lands. So this is the known lands that were coming back here from the ancestral city. from beyond the ice walls. The iron blue broke into a quiet wooded areas between huge snowy mountains, and with great care we managed to survive a forced but incredible landing between trees that hit our most precious bird that moved us and resisted the onset one after another. We went from one side to the other until suddenly peace invaded. We went from one side to another until suddenly peace invaded. We had passed the first test, but now what? I asked Butler. Was beaten, but he was fine, and the other two ancestors had no major injuries either. My leg hurt quite a bit from the blows, and my body too, although, as you know, I had come with some problems since before entering these lands. It remained to find out if this abrupt fall had been an error of the ship, something that was quite difficult to imagine, or if it had been caused by some technology that had been installed by the parasites of the forces that worked for them. Yeah, it's the latter. We were on some remote islands on the border with the ice walls, which could not be seen in the distance due to the fog that covered the great forests. But we knew exactly that they were there. The sun was peeking through the large trees, and we left quickly to get away from the ship in case there were forces in the area that could have spotted our fall. We were mere mortals, coming from the other side of the walls with a broken ship, strange clothing. Although similar to the time that ran in my homeland with ancient technology, they fortunately still worked properly. But really, if they wanted to attack us, was our worst time, and the worst was to have entered. We moved away from the 900 meters from the area of the fall, although it had been resounding. Our ship had not generated any fire or something to consider that we could have been spotted from afar. The fog invaded completely, and we could barely make out the road we were traveling in these cold forests. Suddenly, we began to hear strange noises coming from the north. Someone was walking in the weeds. The fog prevented us from seeing if it was a man, and if we decided to stop our march completely. We crouched down in the thick grass and waited. 10, 20, 30 seconds passed and nothing. Silence evaded. So 1 minute, 2 minutes, it was even 5 when we overcame this. We came out of the trees and ran head on into a human soldier walking towards us. I think we were both stunned, but the Marine touched his gun with his left hand and raised his right to indicate that he would not shoot immediately, called us silently to come over closer to his position. Butler indicated that we should follow him and not say a word. He would speak. Then the soldier asked us to perfect English what battalion we were from or where we came from. We let the captain speak, and he gave him concrete answers and exact locations to dispel any doubts from the soldier. We began to have equally great suspicions of this Marine. What was he really doing patrolling alone in these latitudes? We were not even aware that humans had reached this remote southern part of the known continents. Charlie, as the soldier introduced himself, received us in the best way, believing Butler's version, and handed us several fruits and food that he carried in his backpack. While he began to tell us about how he arrived to these lands, and how confused he was in his way. And the next chapter is chapter 26, the soldier's information on the war between the humans and the giants in the Hidden Lands in the south. Okay, so they came in. They talked about the inner struggle. They got in their ship. They passed through the portal. They're back here in the known lands, but they're in the southern lands of Antarctica. They ran into a soldier, and now he's going to go through what has happened between the humans and the giants in our wars. So, let's see. Keep cognizant of the time. Let's go ahead and jump into chapter 26, the soldier's information on the war between humans, giants, and the hidden lands in the south. And then we're going to stop it there, and we'll get to 27 the next read, okay? So this one says, Charlie patted my right shoulder and began to give me the condolences for being there too. Human brothers, it is always good to see a brother walking beside me, Charlie commented strangely. We doubted his mental health at that moment, and not because there were not other beings around, but we doubted that he was really aware. Then we were going to understand the situation and what he meant in a perfect way. I understand that you are new and surely you haven't seen the killer beasts, commented Charlie. We all looked at each other without fully understanding. Charlie then continued, friends, it will be quite interesting to see your faces when you see those beasts coming against you in a hurry. I will understand since I have seen the same expression in everyone here. Listen, what beasts are you telling us about? Butler asked, rather confused. You'll see them, Charlie said, and then pointed his rifle towards the horizon to the east. There, look over there, he continued. That one lying there, that's one of the beasts you'll see. It moved in seconds. Hold on. We all stared at the sector, and a giant suddenly stood up and would be about 5 meters tall. It was an incredible being and another race of giants that I didn't know in person. The blue beings did not talk to the blue beings. Okay, wait a minute. The blue beings. Do you talk to the blue beings? Charlie commented again. We made great gestures of not understanding. Charlie then commented, you are the strangest new agents in this area. He then sentenced, but time to time you already saw and had the first experience with one of those beasts, and you will understand everything promptly. Clearly, being able to understand that situation could be beneficial to us. With the ship in shambles, the custodians who seem to walk all around us in the most reconciled land and at the mercy of giants who knew little and nothing about us. This war makes no sense at all, Charlie commented. Rather, none of it does, but this one much less so. We are at war against beings we didn't even know existed until now. That didn't know our culture and only act out of repetition or defense. You know what I mean? It is a repetition, a loop that never stops, over and over again, the same thing every day, like being in limbo itself. I thank the Lord you guys showed up. I thought I was going crazy. I almost committed insanity. We must get out of here soon, commented Charlie, already in a desperate way. Butler tried to calm him down and sat him on a large rock and gave him water so that he could relax. Charlie's experience clearly showed that they came from a Machiavellian and perverse game. From what other sector could this come more than the damn parasites? With Butler, we understood it perfectly, although we did not know the details or depth about these beasts, as Charlie called them. We knew clearly that this game was about the custodians, and these lands were somehow hidden to perform this kind of perverse game, although what was the function of all of that? Okay. And chapter 27 is where we're going to cut it, because that's like 5 pages. And I want to make sure that we process what we've read. So, these blue beings, curious for me. I think of the movie Avatar. I think of the Great Tree. We are surrounded by things that we know nothing about. Anything that can be put in a book can be manipulated. But I will share this with you. I have another one. The Encyclopedia of Alien Races. We are surrounded. We are not the only intelligent life forms on this planet. And for the life of me, I still have my brothers and sisters who are they just cannot let go of this illusion around us, right? I function in the illusion because I have to. And the reason why I say that is because I've nurtured into this life and I'm nurtured into this existence, but I know it's not real. And I'm at the point where I'm waking up and I'm researching, right? I moved out of the city and away from a highly populated area, but it seems like I didn't move far enough. I need to be out in the middle of the woods with the chupacabras. And I didn't do that. You know, my life changed and I made the decisions based on what I was thinking at the time. I say all this to say I'm further away from Houston, though there are people around me. I'm not in a rural area. And that's where I should have moved. I should have moved further out and in a rural area. I didn't do that. I stayed because I wanted to be close to my children. I wanted to be close to my grandkids. So I know many of you who may watch this video may have land. You may have moved further out. You may be out of the major cities and away from the things that are going to go down. You know, there are a lot of people that aren't fortunate enough to be able to do that, right? I'm on an acre, so I have an indoor garden. I have things I'm not going to talk about on here, but I have some things, but I'm at a point now where, you know, I have a decision to make, right? We both have a decision to make. You know, going into this next year to 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, I believe things are they're going to progress greatly in a way that we've never seen before in this generation, right? I don't believe we're going to have an election. I don't believe things are going to turn out the way people think that they are. And I think these cast of characters have positioned themselves here on the U.S. soil for a purpose. The UN soldiers, everything is by design. And it's all because of these parasites. It ties into everything. I know a lot of times I may talk about certain things. For those of you who haven't watched some of the videos that I've done previously, that you're not going to understand, but this is where you have to use your own discernment and you have to go do your own research, right? The book that I'm reading from is The Hidden Lands Beyond Antarctica. It's a series. There's 4 books, actually. This is the 4th one. I was told that he's going to be making a 5th one. Just know that we're not the only intelligent beings, and we've had help in the past, in the distant past, from giants and from other beings that have stepped in. Will they step in this time and help us in the center known lands or the dome? I don't know, but I know that it's our time to rise up and to come together, and we need to do it now. For those of us who understand, you know, it's now or never, right? I try to position myself with like-minded people, right? And know that not everybody is going to agree with everything that you have to say, and that's okay. At the end of the day, it's your life. It is up to you to make a change and to sacrifice, right? So tonight when I come back on, I am going to be reading from The Occult Anatomy of Man, Manly P. Hall. I have several books, The Secret Teachings and so forth, but I may not be able to get all that in one video, so I'm going to have to chop it up. I don't want to go past 40 minutes on this video, so I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you all coming in and listening to me read, hearing me talk a little bit, and just know that I'm doing this for the love of whomever sees this, right? Just because I don't know you physically, I have never met you, it doesn't mean that I don't have love for you, because we are all on this journey and we all need to ascend and we need to work together now more than ever, right? Thank you for joining me, you guys. I'll be back later on this evening, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to go in here, make me some more. I'm about done with my coffee. I'm going to make me some tea, sit down, read another chapter of this, finish up a crochet blanket, and meditate, listen to some jazz, and clear my mind and just be at peace with myself, be one with myself for a little bit. And I'll see you guys later on tonight. Thanks for joining me. And remember, be the change you want to see all around this planet, because it's up to you and I to make a positive change. I love you guys. Peace.